Hello everyone, and welcome to another MMO meeting. This is, I guess, meeting number 4, falling within the weekend of meeting number 3. Not to confuse everyone that this is indeed part 1 of meeting 4.
So this isn't like meeting 3.5 or something like Battlestar Galactica like that?
Yeah, exactly, so that we can sell it, split up, make more money, stuff
absolutely,
like that.
and then have the special Blu-ray edition with more special features.
Well, in yesterday's meeting, I had mentioned to everyone that the reason I was holding 2 meetings this weekend was to try to accommodate as many people as possible. First of all, just having a meeting on the weekend helps those that have to go to a regular job Monday through Friday. Second of all, I split it up into 2 different time slots, yesterday being earlier to help those that are overseas, and today a little bit later to help those that are stateside. Though it's quite awesome to see so many of you that are indeed overseas joining us again.
For both, yeah,
that's
pretty amazing.
Hardcore, and I love it. Another thing that I'm going to be able to do is just kind of get an idea with these different times and all that we're doing classes, which one seems to have the most people, which ones have the fewest, etc.
We actually seem to have fewer in the classroom tonight.
There are fewer, but
by about 20%.
Yeah, this is the lowest number of students that we've had yet in any of the class meetings. But that's okay. You know, one of the things, you and I talked about this too, and we've seen it in the past, is as classes continue going forward, you know, we see less and less people showing up.
Yeah, and
But with this class, the difference is, I was just going to say, I'm just going to start driving from door to door to all of our students and, well, let's just say encouraging them to attend.
I'm not.
Yeah, I'll encourage.
I say we do it backwards. Instead of driving door to door, which just wastes gas money, and gas is expensive right now. Just start offering cooler and cooler stuff for those who do show up.
What are you talking about? No, after I get done encouraging them, I'm going to encourage them as my parting farewell to cover gas.
Yeah, exactly.
As I leave.
Yeah, and by the way, it cost me $50 to drive out here, so yeah, about that.
Oh, Chipkiss, don't think I don't know that. Chipsius.
What did he say?
He said Sweden.
Sweden.
Oh, I know that. And I know you can drive a car onto a C-130. And I know that C-130 can fly across the ocean and land over there.
And then parachute the car out the back.
Oh, hell yeah.
Like a special
That means I need like a James Bond outfit on.
Yeah, absolutely. So like in free fall, you can adjust your cuffs and your tie?
That would be awesome. But a giant thank you for those of you out there that were able to make it tonight. Very cool stuff. I saw Big Chuck said, so my demo version of Unity lasts only 30 days. The professional elements of Unity last only 30 days.
That's right.
Then it will downshift to standard mode, and that will continue working on and on and on forever. Also, I don't know if you saw this earlier today, Zach, but there was an announcement from the Unity guys that they said they can't say much about it, but there's an exporter that's in the works right now to where you will be able to apparently publish your games to Flash.
Nice.
So, Flash, I mean...
That's kind of cool.
Yeah, wow. I mean, being able to work in one platform...
There's Nelson. That's stupid.
Nelson, I think you forget about the business world and the penetration that Flash actually has.
Well, you lost him at Flash.
In the business world.
You said Flash, and he immediately just replaced that in his mind with stupid.
See, well, I'm sorry. We have to think business, especially with this MMO class. And, I mean, the implications are huge. I mean, wow. And not to have to work in Flash, but to be able to work in Unity and C# and publish for the iPhone, the iPad, the Android, the Xbox, but of course you've got to have a special license there.
Yeah.
PS3 special license there. The Wii special license there.
Now, did I miss something? Or are they doing a special license for Flash too?
No,
did they say anything?
I don't think so.
It'll just be straightforward.
Yeah, I think that's going to be straightforward. I mean, you're going to have to pick up the whatever exporter they're going to have.
Right.
You would think that they'd want to make
charge a little bit of money for that. Yeah, absolutely.
But still, it's like DMJ said, wake me when Unity runs on Samsung microwaves. I think that's coming next week at the rate
there you go.
We're progressing forward.
TI-86.
Yeah.
That'd be awesome.
That would be crazy. But yeah, it's still very cool nonetheless. Even if it's something that we never take advantage of, just having that ability is a fantastic. So yesterday, in the class meeting, Zach read off the Eleuthian story.
The novella.
Yes, and
if you missed it, boy, did you miss it.
Yeah, well, hopefully those of you that were not here had an opportunity to at least listen to the first part of the second section of yesterday's meeting, which is what contains the novel that Zach read off.
The first part of the second section. That's so confusing.
I know it is. That's why I was
just listen to the whole second section. It'll be fine.
Slowing down more and more. But anyways, it is definitely a story that I love. It seems that most of all of you out there, I haven't heard anything bad from a single student yet. So that's fantastic. So we've got that in place. Now I was hoping, but I can be honest here, I was hoping that tonight we would read off one of the textbooks that I'm really digging. But no pressure on Zach and no sad looking faces. It is a weekend. I have asked that Lee and Nelson and Zach, attend if possible. And so, of course, that cuts into, a little bit of personal time to go off and do stuff. I mean, as far as I know, Zach just ran a hot girl home only minutes ago.
I did, actually.
Just barely made it to class.
Barely got her back home and made it here just in time to chug down an energy drink from not sleeping.
And I'm not exaggerating. So
nope, I am here in body and mind.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, she's pretty hot too. Redheads are awesome, but that's beside the point.
But that's beside the point. That's a totally different topic.
So anyways, Zach did not have an opportunity to get around to the particular textbook excerpts that I was wanting him to read off to everyone. No big deal. Can do that next time because it's definitely some very entertaining stuff that I really enjoy. But we'll be sharing that with you for sure by the next class meeting.
Yeah, very soon. But I've got a good start. Well, the bulk of it, the bulk basics of it are written. But it's very rough, and it needs a hammer and chisel taken to it.
It's not rough at all, but there are a few things that we need to change around a little bit.
Okay.
Zach's all modest. Oh, it's so rough. No, it's damn good, as always. There's just a few things that we need to flesh out just a little bit to jive a little bit more with what you guys have heard, because this textbook was actually written first, and then
I decided that wasn't working well enough, and then we wanted to go further back. It was kind of a unanimous thing. Let's go back further and talk about some prehistory for the Eleuthians, and then we did that. So
a lot of awesome stuff for us to pull from. But now tonight we do have Mr. Chris Morris is joining us. So with a little NATO around, he can share some of his game mechanic ideas. That is one of the things that I was interested in discussing this weekend. Not so much from our point of view. I was really wanting to hear from you guys. Now, I kind of got suckered into it yesterday, talking a little bit about what was on my mind. So I'm going to do the best I can to just stay as quiet as possible.
I'm wondering if NATO's going to be available.
Oh, uh-oh.
Uh-huh.
What's...
Well, he's mashing his face against the desk.
Well, why are you mashing your face
and he
against...
said, ugh.
That's not good.
That's a direct quote, actually.
Yeah, I noticed. What's wrong, NATO? Hopefully there's nothing wrong.
Speak to us.
Right now
Give voice to your troubles.
Getting kicked around between a few satellites.
Yes. Actually, he should have heard us by now, unless he's already run. He's like, "Hey, what's that?" And he turned and ran.
I've been really impressed with lag on this. There's not been a lot.
There's not a lot of lag on this.
Yeah, it's very cool. Oh, his other half is gone for the next 9 months. I read that. Oh, that actually depressed me.
Yeah.
But hang on. Let's go ahead and come over here and find good old NATO. And
now, does that mean the wedding's over?
No, that's like 2.5 months away.
I can't keep track.
Hey, Chris.
Hello.
How you doing?
I'm alright. No, the wedding isn't off.
No, I just meant
not left me or anything.
No, I didn't mean it like that. I just didn't know if the wedding had already taken place.
No, it's in a couple of months.
Okay.
Oh God, it's in a couple of months. And I've just committed that to video. Oh, she knows how I feel. But yeah, I had to take her off to this training course that she starts today. And she doesn't get a day off for like, I think 16 days in a row.
Wow.
That has the training course, and then she has to have some assessments, and then she's straight on to the first week. It's a 10-day course, and then she works six days, and it's a day off.
I think it's time for a party.
So, that's what I was doing last night, which is why I wasn't here, because lots of our friends came in and we had a good party.
There you go.
I've got to admit, Chris, I was worried for a half a second, though, because I usually check the Facebook stuff on my iPhone, so it's a little more dramatic because you get to scroll down as you're reading with your thumb. And as I was scrolling down, you were telling 9 months to go and screw off, basically. And when I saw 9 months, I was like, oh my God. So I'm scrolling down thinking, like Big Chuck just said, 9 months equals baby. I'm like, oh boy.
Yeah, a lot of people have been saying that. It just happens to be 9 months.
I tell you what, though, I was if that was the case, you are owed.
Yeah, I wouldn't want it to go.
I was going to say you are owed some serious mad props because you get her pregnant and then you ship her away for the whole course of the pregnancy. Just come back with the kid, and I think everything will be fine.
Oh, that's horrible.
I mean, like, every man in the world should, like, suddenly bow down and pay homage. That's the wisest thing I've ever heard.
Well, NATO, I'll tell you, Gavin has really had your back. You have shared some game mechanic ideas with him that he has wanted to share so bad, but he's not. He's like, I just can't talk about that without NATO here.
I listened back to it this afternoon, and I was you little, because he's build it up now. And I have bits of ideas.
Well, you did know that.
So here's what I'm picturing. NATO's like, okay, is everybody ready for it? Our characters will have inventory.
And there you go. Well, I mean, you did know we're basically holding this second class this weekend for you.
He just unplugged and walked out. I'm going to the pub. Leave me alone.
I mean, no pressure, but I mean, the whole thing is.
If it wasn't 1 a.m.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, you basically have me for the next 9 months, give or take the odd day when he can get off, and my wedding. But yeah.
I just can't think of enough ways to have fun with that statement.
And I just can't touch it.
Oh, Zach. I'll recorded.
So that's what I wanted to do tonight. We as you know, Chris, we've got a lot of the story really starting to fall into place, which, first of all, thank you for all of your help with Zach, with reading over and throwing out suggestions.
Absolutely. And he's still looking to, I believe his term was, have a poke at what I wrote for the Alethian side. Now, I did give him every opportunity to do that. He just hasn't taken me up on it yet. But yeah, if you have anything that you want to...
there wasn't that much to change. It was all pretty good.
Well, then why do you say you want to have a poke at it?
I want to have another read through and just go, is there anything that I think needs a second look at?
One of those.
Because you've had a read... Gav has gone through.
Oh, did Gav ever go through?
Because I remember... I did the first section of the... What are you calling it? Handbook?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, you did.
I went first through the section of that and put up some alternative versions of...
Yeah, and that whole section is really being kind of rewritten.
Oh, this is
and
for
rearranged.
The newcomers of Alethea?
Yeah, that's being really kind of hammered out to something that it just has a little bit more of a flow. But yeah, Gavin did a really good job of recursively editing the
his edits were so mad, he started editing his own edits.
He did! I'm not even kidding. Edits that had edits. But yeah, any suggestions you have on anything I write, just send my way.
But overall, really Chris, what do you think? How do you like how both the humans and the Alethians are taking shape now?
I like both sides. I like there's I think hearing the dramatic reading of the Alethian backstory yesterday brought it a lot more forward than reading it through. As I told Zach, I take a long time to read things, as that sometimes loses the sort of dramatic effect.
Correct.
But no, I liked this approach because it was much more. You could actually grab hold of concepts a lot easier in that narrative than you could sort of reading it through in quite a dry, textbook-like way. So bringing this forward as a, almost like a mission statement for the race. So you sort of outline what they're like, what they, kind of their culture.
I see what you're saying.
Pushing home just how much they rely on magic and just how much taking that away. It wasn't specifically ever sort of said. It was implied that taking it away is not something they've ever considered. And actually, possibly, completely losing it is not something they've ever considered.
You mean like taking away their power?
Yeah, I mean, what happens to an Alethian if they lose their power? Because it's like another sense to them.
Right.
It would be as if you worse than if you were blind, because there are the senses sort of not cooperate. That's the wrong word.
Are you and Gavin related in any way?
We're British. That's about as far as it goes.
Oh, okay, just checking.
Oh, okay. Is this? It must be a British thing.
Yes, it must be a British thing.
To start 7 sentences, but finish none of them.
Exactly.
I like to think I'm a little better than Gav.
Well, it's like it's
I get lost with Gav even.
Oh, I've actually never sat there to listen to both of you two have a conversation. It's going to be interesting, actually.
The only thing is that Gav has a habit of just going, "Yes, I hear what you're saying, but I'm just going to sit here and interrupt you."
Oh, no sad faces, Gavin. You know we love you.
No, it's great. It's like
get this out of my head now.
Yeah, it's like a horse race, though. You start like 7 sentences at the same time, and then as one gets ahead, you jump over to that one, and then he starts to fall behind, so we jump over to the next leader until eventually we make it to the finish line. We've covered all the ideas.
We could find a way to sync them up perfectly. You could have one person completing them, and once he's about 5 sentences ahead, with all incomplete sentences, then Gavin could come in behind, finishing each thought, so that the listener could be like, "Whoa,
there you go!
What an experience!"
It's like multi-threaded conversation.
Exactly. It's a forward deja vu.
That's the most bizarre thing I've ever heard. Awesome.
So now, Gavin said that you. Let me just see if we bring Gavin in, which that means right now he's probably jumping up and hunting for a his speaker volume. Let's see, where's he at? There he is.
There's A. Enrico still giving me, I guess, props or heck about reading like a girl. That's hilarious.
What? You did great.
No, I did. I had to narrate like a girl.
He said props.
Oh, okay.
That's better than poop.
I guess so.
Gavin.
Jason.
All right. So we finally have you and Chris here to start talking about this idea that started with Chris, and then you fell in love with it or with each other. I don't know for sure, but it just
probably a little of both. And there's nothing wrong with that.
No,
we don't look down on that at all.
No. So Gavin, you're here. Chris, you're here. Let's hear what you guys got.
Yeah.
Well, come on.
This is the okay, right.
Yeah.
What I've mostly been working on is the idea that all characters in the game need to work off the same system. So that includes players, NPCs, monsters, whatever you want to call them. They all work on the same basic principles. So you can each interaction is the same mechanics. I mean, WoW does this to quite a great effect. Lots of the NPCs have the same stats as the players, with the exception of PvP stats.
Now, as you're talking, I'm going to start jotting things down because Nelson's with us as well, and I know the word stats makes Nelson cringe, so I'm going to...
But so does project and proposal.
I know, but I'm just jotting some of these down that we can come back with. Okay, so yes, I've seen NPCs throughout WoW. Of course, they all have the basic same kinds of stats. So continue.
Right. So I was working off that basic principle. So instead of going about it in terms of looking at computer game mechanics, I came at it from looking at it as a role-playing game. So drawing on my knowledge of tabletop games, I've come up with the bones of a stat system that I think is quite good for an MMO, but we'll see. It's based on the principle that you have 3 main numbers that relate to your general abilities, general skills. That being your body, which is your physique. This includes your strength and dexterity, as well as your constitution, stamina, that sort of thing.
Okay.
You have mind, which is mental ability, intelligence, wisdom, perception, anything to do with cognitive ability. And then you have your soul, which is strength of mind, your will, your conviction, your sort of self-control and discipline, and possibly your charisma, but I didn't like to put charisma in there because that's a very heavily role-played element. And since I want to ship an awful lot of that out to factions, how different people will respond to you depends on what faction they are and what your reputation with that faction is, or a system based on that principle. So charisma I wanted to keep out if we're working from this basic sort of D&D-esque 4/6 stat system.
So you have body, mind, and soul.
Correct.
Yeah. I envisioned these to go between 1 and 100 to 200. So 200 being sort of max level with all your buffs and all your awesome abilities on. Now, I'll come back to why I've done it like this at the end, but these numbers don't affect your character directly. You have a subset of skills and abilities which depend on what your general skills are, which are called your derived skills. These are sort of your strength, your dexterity, your intelligence, wisdom, endurance, perception, constitution, and other such things that they're not discrete enough to be, they're not general enough to be sort of big general skills, such as D&D uses them, but they aren't individual enough to be sort of hitting someone with a sword, opposed to your general strength. It's a step between the two. Now, these would be calculated under a basis of a certain percentage of your body, your mind, or your soul. So, for instance, your strength characteristic in this example I'm using would be 50% your body, 25% your mind, and 25% your soul. The idea being is you need to have a good physique to be able to actually lift that iron bar. But if you don't know how to apply your strength, your physique to that action, and if you don't have the conviction to do it, you're not going to get anywhere. And the different weighting of these derived abilities, which I've called them, is what makes them. You can also have certain situations where, depending on which one of your general skills, so your general abilities, is higher, depends upon which one is used. For instance, in a persuasion, there are 2 different kinds of persuasion you can use. You can either terrify the person, which would be very much in your physique and your stature, doesn't actually involve much sort of thinking of clever things to say and whatnot. So it's not very mind based, and you need to be able to have sort of a good conviction to say, yeah, I'm telling you what to do. So it's 60, 10, 30 in that one.
Hey, Chris.
Yeah.
Chris, can you do me a favor?
Sure.
Let me see if I can get you to hold the thought for a second. Let's do this. Let's go ahead and we'll conclude this video. So the very first one's going to be short. And then let me bring up the whiteboarding. And if Zach doesn't mind...
Which is in fact blue.
Which is in fact blue. But
I like to hammer that home, don't you?
But we have a few people that are starting to get a little confused. And we can treat this a little bit more like an interview where Zach, again, if Zach doesn't mind,
no, it's fine,
can start asking you questions and drawing out a picture, and you can see our screen, so you can say, yeah, like that. Or,
so when we get done, they'll hear your description, and they'll see a picture of helicopters and jets flying around shooting machine guns at each other.
Yeah, because here's my concern. That is, just sitting here watching the IRC, there's a lot of people that are getting lost and confused with what's being said. Now,
yeah, I was seeing that as well.
Zach can tell you now. I've already filled a half of a page.
I imagine those who are getting confused, and I say this with all due respect, are not taking notes.
Yeah, I've already filled half of a legal page. With
I was
notes.
actually typing it out on my iPad, and I'm fine.
So I'm following you. And also at the same time, I've played WoW and stuff like that. And I'm very familiar with stats, so that helps as well. And we do have people that have never played anything like, well, World of Warcraft, etc. So let's go ahead and conclude this video, and then we'll get the second video rocking with a whiteboard, and we'll make this a little bit more visual, and that should help everybody out. Okay? Yeah. So thanks a lot, everyone. We'll be right back.